welcome to the Sailing My Magic channel. My name is Duke and I am solo sailing Magic, my 2015 Lagoon Catamaran, around the world. I realize that it's been a while since I produced a video, but it's not for lack of wanting to do it. I've had problems. I had one camera die and took some of the footage away, and also my computer is not wanting to connect to the internet. But if you could click on like and subscribe, it is totally free. It does help me. I won't keep asking you about it. So here goes. I wanted to sail to Savusavu, which is on the other side of Fiji. I had some excellent and beautiful sunset views as I was getting ready. But the first thing I had to do was go and get fuel at the fuel dock, but I didn't want to have to get back into the same little slip area that I was in because it's a narrow fit. So I talked to them and they let me tie up at the fuel dock by being the very last boat there in the evening, and then I could sleep on the boat overnight. Now, one problem is the fuel dock has these upright cement posts, so I had to reconfigure my fenders, little rubber bumper things, so that it would protect the boat in case there was any swell overnight. Now, you can see there's a cafe right in front of me, so that was handy. I could get something in the morning or get something in the evening. Next to that, there's a chandlery. And these are the boats that handle the tours and stuff locally, fishing, charter fishing, stuff like that. And then the big restaurant over on right there. And this is what it looks like at night. It's a completely different view. My goal was to anchor in the bay outside the marina and let my friends catch up to me there. Right now, I'm outside of Una Marina, which is over there. And with a bunch of other boats here just outside the breakwater, and I'm waiting for Diva to join me, and then we'll continue on to Savusavu. That commercial ship over there, those two big towers on it, are a combination of sail and wind turbine that help the freighter go faster in the wind. In the meantime, I've got a passenger. You can see him down there. Looks like a cross between a fish and a salamander, but it's walking on its fins and it's crawled out of the water, and I'm not quite sure what it is. Interesting looking though. It's crawled out that far all by itself, but I've never heard of a saltwater salamander before. It turns out it was a goby fish, which can walk on stiff pectoral fins and can be in salty or fresh water. I had to collect all the fenders off the side of the boat, get them back in the storage locker. There's a 40% chance of rain today, but I think it's going to be over there, not over here. For the first night, we're going to stop at Sawini Bay, which is only about 30 miles away. Unfortunately, it's directly into the wind, so we're going to have to motor the entire way. But still, it's a beautiful day out, and I can see Diva up in front of me, and it'll just be a perfect little motor sail. Sawini Bay is small, but it is fairly well protected, and there's a white sand beach over towards the left side there. You can see a little bit of the sand in the water, and it wasn't far from the marina, so it gave us a nice opportunity to relax and enjoy ourselves at the beginning of the journey. The thing about South Pacific Islands is they have many reefs around them. And as you can see there, there's a lot of reefs that are out in the middle of the ocean, and the land seems far away when you're going through the passages. But the reality is you're zigzagging around. So now there's a reef there at low tide. They show up at low tide, but they sink beneath the waves in high tide, and you have to follow a specific charted route. But reefs are growing living things. They actually do grow, and the sand shift around, so you are better off if you can just travel among the passages during the daytime, where you can see if a reef pops up at low tide. The second night we spent in a little unnamed cove near Vatapuli. The next day there was a large open expanse of water, but we had to head between those two islands up ahead. There's a passage in between them, and that gets into the next narrow set of reefs and passages. The green are reefs and the yellow is land. If you came straight through here, you would hit a reef. You have to come in at an angle. And there in the distance, you can see another reef that's sticking out of the water at low tide. That's the whole idea of sailing during the daytime. You can see these things because the GoPro makes everything look farther away. So when you see this land is this close, you're that close. And when you see the reefs out there, they're not as far away as you think they are. You could have gone over through the Malaki Passage to Savusavu, which is on a separate island, but the passage over there was really rough weather at the time, so we decided to go into Voli Voli instead. Now, Voli Voli is an interesting dive resort and does have a nice restaurant. So this is the resort at Voli Voli. After I got anchored, I threw out a hamburger, and this tuna fish came right up to my dinghy. I was going to go over to my friend so we could have a glass of wine and chat a bit. And he hung right in there. He didn't care whether the motor was running or not. This is from up at the restaurant, the view. They have a nice pool there. And it's up on a hill, a lot of hills to walk there. But the views are worth it. And that's the bay. And then in the morning, leaving the area, I had one more major passage between the reefs to go through to get out into open water. And then because we had turned a bit north to get on our way towards Savusavu, the wind was picking up and I could finally unfurl the sails and sail like I was meant to. My boat is not real good at low winds, but you give me 20 knots on the beam and she'll really start to fly. So that was what I was doing then, put the sails up, get going, and actually speed through this part. So it was the longest passage in this journey, but also the fastest. I love sailing my boat in these kind of conditions because it feels like a freight train going downhill. All that power in the sails, and it just seems like a jet contrail going behind us. Unstoppable and just a juggernaut. Also, when it's flying along like this, the autopilot doesn't have much to do, and I can sit back and relax and enjoy the ride. This is the part that makes sailing worthwhile. The waves are fairly small and smooth. The wind is strong and powerful. I've got a good open sea in front of me, and I can hurl along at any speed that I want. I'll pick something moderate. I always am a little bit cautious. I don't want to overpower the sails. You can see on the head sail there, I've got it partly furled up, and I'm still making really good time. That's what you want to be doing. That's the island of Vanua Levu up ahead, and Savusavu is in the middle of that island. It's kind of a long, thin, curved island. So first we're going to get into that point, and then we're going to have to maneuver around the peninsulas and stuff to get over to Savusavu. The first place we were thinking about stopping was Bahia Bay, and it's right there by the point. But we had made really good time coming across, so didn't want to waste any good daylight hours or sailing. So we swung past that, and then we went over to a couple of spots that were supposedly anchorages, but each time we went into them, they were too exposed for us to stay there. Instead, we ended up going through what was the most dangerous part of the whole trip, and that was going through Nasoni Pass, which is very narrow. If you see those jagged things at the bottom right corner, that's indication for standing waves. They are huge waves that are held up by the wind going one direction, the current going another direction, and that's a big problem there. But we got through all of that eventually and went through Passage Point there into a big bay that's right in front of the inlet for Savusavu. Savusavu is up a river, sort of. You come up the inlet, and then Nui Marina is on the left-hand side when you get up there. It's kind of a complicated thing, but it's all worth it. And then suddenly it's time for your sundowner. Have a great day.